Coming up, an Arctic roller coaster ride.
It was absolutely brilliant.
Temperatures plummet below -40.
So cold.
And homesickness sets in.
Oh, it's all right.
London's Heathrow Airport and the Sirius Arctic team prepared to leave their families for more than 3 weeks.
I'm gonna miss you. Even I'm gonna start crying.
The 8 adventurers have been chosen from 9,000 applicants for an extreme expedition. They're flying 5,000 miles to the north of Canada, their final destination, Baffin Island in the frozen Arctic. They haven't seen expedition leaders Ben and Emma since their auditions a month ago.
Hi.
You alright? Good to see you. Yeah, good to see you.
How are you, love?
It may be sunny, but the temperatures are cool, -18 Celsius.
It's freezing cold. After a while, it started to burn your face, and you're like, oh, I didn't think it would be anything like this.
It freezes on the inside of your nose, and it feels like you've got concrete up your nose. You're like...
They head out to their camp on the frozen sea. The ice is a couple of metres thick on top of the ocean. They'll be living on it in a fixed tent for the first week of training.
We're here.
Hey.
Get out. Jump out.
This is going to be our home, large, super duper tent, and from here we're going to get you into the Arctic way of life.
We'll have girls down this side, boys down this side. It's cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
The temperature in the tent will never rise above 0. Everything will be frozen.
I can't get it.
Caramel bar. It's like rock hard though.
Can you bite it, Jan?
I got it. Nice.
And going to the loo is going to be a seriously Arctic experience.
We need to be careful where we obviously go to the toilet because we are going to be using the snow to melt for our water. We don't want to melt snow that we've been to the toilet on.
Oh.
So we have a girls' pee area and a boys' pee area and then a proper toilet. So I shall show you those first. I'm not sure if it's a P for P or a B for Ben.
Well, it was meant to be a P, but it got a bit blobby. I couldn't control myself, so it's a P. And a P marks the spot for the boys, all right?
This is the toilet.
Wait,
It's a bucket with a bin bag in it.
that's gonna stink.
No, it won't stink because it all freezes.
Oh yeah.
See, it's clever.
Good.
But any liquid freezes as well. So you don't want any pee in here. So you go and pee in the pee spot and come and poo here. Yeah?
If you need a pee and poo.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You have to pee first. Pee first, then poo.
Alright.
Yeah?
Oh, that's gonna be a hard one.
I'm not really very happy about it, but what can you do? So I'm just not looking forward to when I need the toilet.
Already some are starting to feel the cold, especially Adam. Ben calls the team together to talk about the dangers of frostbite.
We're now in the Arctic, and it's a very serious environment because if you get things wrong, you're going to suffer the consequences.
Frostbite affects exposed parts of the body if they get too cold, especially the face, fingers and toes.
They are recoverable. They're not you're not going to have your toes amputated.
So we could get that.
If we get these wrong.
If you get things wrong, yeah.
Looks pretty vicious to me.
Okay. If you want to go to ultra
It's like something off like a horror film, doesn't it?
that is to shock you because that could happen if you get things wrong.
So they're going to amputate those ones?
In that case, yes.
That's awful.
That really scared me about the reality of what could happen to us out there.
I didn't actually realise it was so easy to get bad frostbite, and how easy it is. You just have to make a little mistake and then you can lose a finger from it.
Snuggle right down inside.
The immediate concern is figuring out how to stay warm overnight.
Warming up yet?
Yeah. Yes, very warm.
Right, have you got all the water that's left in your arm?
Yep.
It's so cold that any liquid left out in the tent will be frozen solid by morning.
Got my wash bag, all my bottles of water and things stuffed in my sleeping bag.
So claustrophobic.
It is quite claustrophobic.
Good night. Morning, night, night.
Good night, guys. Sleep well.
Night.
Overnight, it drops to -12 inside the tent and everything gets covered in ice.
A buddy pair. Right, Adam, Lucy just volunteered you.
Yeah. We're scraping off all the ice off the top of the tent, so when we start cooking it doesn't melt and drip on all our stuff.
Despite the reminders, Fabian leaves a drinking bottle out.
You've got a big block of ice. We're going to have to waste some hot water to get rid of your ice. Yeah, so next time, sleeping bag.
Grab a hold of your bag.
The first morning waking up in the Arctic is quite a shock to some of the team. A trip to the toilet leaves Jenny Lynn feeling faint.
Yeah, and get your hot drink.
I couldn't stand up right, and it all looked white and...
It's Fabian's 13th birthday, but he's not feeling too good either.
What's wrong? Oh, I can't think for a second, I'm so sorry.
It's all right. What colour's your plate?
Green, I think.
Green? Okay, I think it's up there. I'll go make you some breakfast, yeah?
Did you put your head and lift the stool up a little bit? Yeah?
They're going to have to get used to the Arctic fast to cope with the main expedition. They'll be living rough for 2 weeks as they head for a remote glacier. Their mission is to do vital research into global warming to help polar bears. As the Earth warms up, the endangered animal's home is starting to disappear. It's one of the world's most extreme and dangerous places, and the team will need some serious survival training over the next week.
All we're going to talk about now, which is a biggie out here, is clothing and equipment.
Courtney and Fabian try out the special clothes they need to protect them. They include 3 layers of trousers, special Arctic boots with thick liners inside, 4 layers of sweatshirts and fleeces, lots of headgear to completely cover their faces, and a massive puffer jacket. And finally, they're ready to head outside.
What we're going to do now is put you into your buddy pairs.
For safety, the team members are now paired up for the rest of the trip. Called buddies, they'll watch out for each other, whatever it takes.
Yeah. What you want to do is to warm your hands up. You want to put your hand in their armpits.
Jenna Lynn is Courtney's buddy, but she's not much help on this exercise.
You've got to put your arms down. I'm really tickly. I'm so sorry. I know it. Right there. My hand there.
On expedition, they'll be dog sledding more than 100 miles, and it's time to meet the animals, rare Canadian Inuit dogs.
They're beautiful. It's just amazing. They're really sweet, and they're dead friendly as well. Well, they're really sweet, but they're so strong. They just like almost push you over. They're very heavy too.
Each sled is pulled by up to 10 dogs. They're working animals, not pets, and need a firm hand.
I don't like this.
The chief dog handler is Arctic expert Matty McNair.
So you just have to be really conscious. Anytime you're in front of that sled, you're in a danger zone. You don't want to get caught in the ropes and tripped or hit by the sled.
I'm a bit nervous actually because it doesn't seem like I could stay on very easily, so I'm a bit scared in case I fall off.
Right, go for it.
First thing to master is getting on and off the moving sled, a vital skill to help the dogs over rougher ground.
Keep
when you get off and start running, like to help the dogs out, you don't realise how fast you're going. And then you're trying to keep up and everything. And then when you've got to jump back on, I'm really scared because I don't miss the side or anything. Come on, hurry up! It's really, really good. It's exciting as well.
On the back of that, it was just absolutely spectacular. I loved working with the dogs. I loved like how they control the sleds and driving it, and I can't wait till we have to do it for a couple of weeks in the main expedition. That's going to be so good.
At the end of each day, there's the major task of collecting and melting snow.
It's not yellow snow, is it?
No.
It's their only source of water.
It's a bit long-winded, but if we took water out in like bottles, it would just freeze.
You either want your food or you don't, or you want a drink or you don't, so it has to be done, doesn't it?
So it's starting to melt at the bottom.
It is a little bit. It's going to take hours.
Each night, the team also get to record a video diary, and Courtney admits she's a bit disappointed about her buddy pairing with Jenna Lynn.
If I was in school with her, I probably wouldn't be friends with her, to be honest.
I hope I don't annoy people, because sometimes I say the wrong things and people take me the wrong way, and like I know that I can get overexcited sometimes.
She was being a bit girly when we had to do the thing. We had to put your hands in her armpit. She was being a bit, you know, oh no, I'm too ticklish. Which was getting slightly annoying, but what can you do?
Happy birthday, dear Fabian. Fabian's been feeling quite homesick during his special day. And the celebrations are reminding him even more of home.
Make a wish.
And I have for you something from your mum.
I didn't really enjoy this day as much as I expected. I just been like really weepy and like unable to speak to other people. But
Not just with my mum and dad and my brother.
Right. It's only the second day. It's like we've been here for like weeks.
Oh, it's alright. It's because they're thinking about you.
Their next husky training exercise takes them over much more difficult terrain in preparation for the main expedition.
Stay with it. And it's the way. Okay.
As Ben drives the dogs uphill, Jenna Lynn and Courtney struggle to stay on.
We was both trying to run up the hill to try and catch onto the thing because I thought they were going to keep on running.
Okay.
I was worried that they're just going to zoom off and then we'll be like left just me and Courtney like screaming our heads off.
Running in the deep snow is exhausting, and when Emma's sled comes through, Matt and Fabian are nowhere to be seen.
Fabian, come on! Quick, run!
I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what had hit me. And all the time we were just panicking and worrying because we had to catch up the sled.
Quickly, you two!
it was just like, how am I going to get back up? And I got really, really tired. I started panting.
Come on, Fabian, quickly, run!
And the dogs almost went off without us.
You guys ready for the big one? Yeah. All right, here we go,
As they race down the hill, Lewis's sled hits a serious problem. The dogs get in a terrible tangle.
Well, as we was coming down the hill, our sledge overtook the dogs, and then they was all getting tangled behind the sleigh, and then they was just basically getting dragged straight behind us. I feel quite bad for the dogs actually, because it looked like they were getting hurt a bit. But they're all fine, so it's good.
It's been an exhilarating day.
It was absolutely brilliant. It's just an amazing experience. It's like, I can't believe I'm doing this at the moment.
It's really, 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 really good.
But they return home into a bitter wind, bringing the temperature down to -40. Everyone is feeling chilled to the bone.
Well, my toes are completely numb, and when I move them, they just sting.
Jenna Lynn offers to use her buddy training to help warm them up.
Let me put my foot on your
Adam!
Freezing.
Adam!
Oh, man. That is so warm.
Guys, it's 7:10. Last night it took 3.5 hours to make supper and hot drinks. We haven't got any water. We have to melt snow. So we really need to get a bit of a move on.
It's Alex and Emily's turn to cook, and it takes them a couple of hours in the sub-zero tent just to melt enough snow. They're starting to get very cold and upset.
They're all complaining they're cold, and I just had to go outside and can't feel my feet and I'm freezing and like I'm not complaining and they're all just sat on the fire not doing anything.
I don't want them to have to make them. They should do it without having to be made. Me and Alex got really annoyed because nobody came to help us. They sat so tightly around the fire that no heat could come out. And me and Alex were stood on like ice basically, and we just were there for about 2.5 hours.
Emily went into tears because nobody was helping her. But yesterday, me and Fabian cooked and cleaned and nobody helped us.
For the leaders, the strong emotions are no surprise.
They'd had a really hard day, and they all just wanted to flump and do nothing. And so, you know, there's a lot of tension last night and a lot of very tired people. Have you got a hot water bottle? Right, I think it's time that you go to bed, because everyone's just way too tired.
The Arctic wind is still blowing strong next morning, and just when the team thought things couldn't get any tougher, Ben has an announcement.
Right, bit of a surprise for you today. We've been building up our experience. We're going out for a night out into proper Arctic mode. Right? And we're going to be without dogs today. We're going to be on foot, and we're going to be towing our kit with sleds.
That's good.
All right.
Okay.
I reckon I'm going to find it really hard because my feet get cold really quick.
I want to know what it's like because I just haven't got an idea at all, so that hopefully we might be a bit more used to it for the actual expedition.
I'm kind of quite worried about going out later because it's just so incredibly cold.
They're going to find it difficult today, definitely, because it's -20 at the moment with another 30 knots of breeze, which means it's about -40, -42. It's going to be a bit of a wake-up call, I think, and certainly tonight it's going to be fun and games.
Just make sure your waist belts and your day sacks are done up, guys. Done. Happy? Yeah. Right, let's do it. Let's have 100%.
Hard work trekking through the soft snow, and despite the extreme cold, the key problem is not to overheat.
Ben, I'm beginning to sweat. I'm getting really quite hot.
Okay, hold up. We're stopping here now for the others to catch up, all right?
All right then. I think that I put a bit too much head layer on. Well, if you sweat, it gets you all wet, and then when you get wet, it all freezes. So then I'll get really cold quickly.
The smallest mistakes in this extreme environment can lead to serious problems.
Your gloves are out in the snow. Gentlemen, all your gloves are out in the snow, all right? You need to get at least one layer on, yeah, and you need to dust all those off. Now, before you put them on, get all the snow off, because otherwise it's going to melt and they're going to be soaking wet, okay?
I'm finding it quite hard actually pulling the sledge, but I'm really enjoying it as well because it's lovely looking around when you're walking. It's like really unbelievable.
It's quite fun actually, surprisingly, because I thought it'd be real hard work and it would get really freezing cold, but you actually warm up really quickly.
This is going to be our overnight spot, all right?
Right.
What do you reckon?
A bit windy.
Bit windy?
Yeah.
Right. We want to get our camp set up as soon as possible, otherwise we're going to get cold.
But putting up tents in an Arctic wind isn't going to be easy.
It's really hard to keep the tent steady because of the wind power, and it's getting cold now.
The wind, it's awful. Every time we try to hold it down, it nearly blows away. No, keep still. I found it.
Adam starts to get dangerously cold.
I'm really annoyed, always being cold, because it slows things down, and I just want to get everything done so we can have some food.
I'm concerned about Adam a little bit, just because when it gets cold, he goes in himself. He's not naturally a person who volunteers to do stuff, and out here you actually want to volunteer to do stuff because it keeps you warm.
The only way to get your hands warm is to help them move around, yeah?
Finally, the girls get their tent up and shelter from the wind, but the boys have got problems.
It's a bit of a nightmare, really. We've put our tent in the wrong position, so now we're having to pull up all the pegs, which is really hard, and we're going to have to move it, then re-peg it down. So yeah, it's a bit of a problem, really.
With Adam still suffering from the cold, Lewis, his buddy, takes on the lion's share of the work.
Yeah? The ice chunk is fantastic. Now, holding the tent together. Doing a great job. Are you sweating?
Quite a lot.
Then you shouldn't be, should you? Yeah? And ease it down a bit, because you're going to be in trouble later. Yeah? Then you are covered in frost, because you've been sweating so much. That means that, well, no, you're fine now. But it means that when you stop,
I cool down.
Yeah, when you cool down, you're going to cool down faster than anyone. Yeah?
Yeah.
As night falls, the temperature plummets to -44.
I am totally freezing.
Hi.
This stings. That stings. Oh, 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 oh.
I'm really cold. Why can't I stop shivering? I don't know. Stay.
It's day 4. I have just been on my face. Poop.
My hands are just a bit cold now. I just want to go to bed and get warm.
I'm really tired, and I just can't wait to get back into my sleeping bag and be warm.
But in their haste to get to bed, some of the basics are forgotten.
More than tough.
Do have concerns over the fact they don't realise how the little things actually are extremely serious.
They've all gone to bed, and there's another water bottle just lying in the tent, and they haven't quite sussed that, you know, all the bits around their neck gaiters and their balaclavas, they're all wet, that's icy.
We'll see how they are in the morning, but certainly I think later on during the expedition, I think unless they get that right, we're going to have some serious drama.
For most, it proves to be the worst night of their lives.
Very cold. I try to get like warm, and usually I can when I'm in my sleeping bag and that. But I was just waking up in the middle of the night, and when you wake up, you realise just how cold it is, and because it was so cold, I couldn't get back to sleep again.
When you breathe out in your sleeping bag, it all freezes everywhere, so it was frozen all down your arms, all over your neck gaiter and everything in the morning, which is really annoying.
I mean, I'm not exaggerating, look. That's what I've got to wear today. I'm not kidding. I mean, I could chop the ice up with this thing. I could scrape it.
It was horrible. When I went to bed, I thought it would be alright because the sleeping bags would warm me up, but my feet were absolutely freezing. And I woke up about 8 times in the night, so I didn't get much sleep either. I hated it, really.
In just a few days' time, they must be fully prepared to head out into the Arctic wilderness. It's a daunting prospect.
I know we've got to get ready because we're going to have to do this every day in the main expedition, but it was real tough and I barely got any sleep. I just hope it gets easier.
Next time on Sirius Arctic, the trials of igloo building. The extreme conditions take their toll.
It's so difficult, you don't understand.
And a tasty surprise for the team.